I am Nick Shell, a certified Enneagram coach, exploring each chapter of this book, Take Care of Your Type, an Enneagram Guide to Self-Care by Christina Wilcox. I bought this book this weekend. I've learned a lot. I took a lot of notes. So each video in this series is me reading off my notes and sharing those, because I can always be learning about Enneagram. Even though I'm already certified as an Enneagram, I can always learn more. So, hey, by the way, do you want to be more like me? If you do, you could click the link right there and it'll help you buy this book off of Amazon, probably cheaper than I paid for it. You could also take your Enneagram test for free right there with Cloverleaf. You could also become like me by becoming a certified Enneagram coach. Also there, Cloverleaf link, you'll see it right there. So let's learn about fives, AKA my sister. Wow, I have learned, and I chat with her nearly every day. We mainly talk about Enneagram. That's the kind of relationship we have. She is totally a 5. So here's what I learned about my sister, because that's all I can think about when I think of a 5 is my sister. So here we go. The book talks about how 5s are awkward and witty, which is totally true. And when I told her that, I sent a little gif and I said of a guy saying, thanks. You know, because that's of course how a 5 would respond. Say, hey, you're kind of awkward, but you're funny. It says here, 5s are overthinkers. And it says, sometimes this can lead to self-neglect or cynicism. They can struggle to be understood by others. Like 8s, it specifically says that. That's an overlap that she and I have in common. It says, can be confusing and even intimidating to others to be around a 5. And the same thing with an 8. Sometimes people don't know how to deal with our energy. It says dancing is healthy for 5s, that they need to let loose and dance more. That's a good activity for them. 5 struggle to trust their own qualifications. So my wife is a 6, but she has a 5 wing, and I see this all the time. She's so qualified at her job and other things, but she doubts herself. And yet she's the most qualified person to do so many things. And I have to remind her, you're way qualified for this thing that you're having doubts about. It says when 5s make themselves available, they can speak real tremendous change. So in other words, 5s have this treasure of knowledge that they're reluctant to share, and they shouldn't be. They need to share that with other people. 5s struggle to exercise, but mentally they need it. And often they're deprived because they don't move their body enough to make their brain basically kind of balance that out. It says 5s want to feel like the smartest person in the room. I can see that. Funny, because for me as an 8, I want to be perceived as the strongest person in the room. Not necessarily physically, but I do want to be perceived as he's the strong one. And 5s want to be seen as the smart one. 5s want to feel like the smartest person in the room. They're the most qualified to debate, which is funny because I'm an 8, I'm a challenger. Supposedly, I just love debate. Not really, because I'm a 41-year-old man. I've learned that's mostly a waste of time. But in a debate, even if 8s won, it'd be 5s that had the right answers. 5s, let's see here. They're organized. They can see all the little steps leading up to the big picture. They do great projects for others, but not for themselves. They are often ahead, but they often feel behind. And then lastly too, this is interesting, people want to be interrupted by 5s. 5s are not a burden. So basically, the biggest thing I learned about 5s from reading this book is that 5s have so much information to help the world, and yet because they often are known as more quiet in a group, you wouldn't know that. So basically, if you are in a room full of people and there are certain people not talking, it's probably the person not talking that has the best information that you'd want to get out of there. And because they're not necessarily quick to speak, and often, and my wife will tell you this with her 5 wings, she says, I can type something or write something a lot better than I can ever say it. It's so much trouble for me to get the words out that by that point, often I would have been better just writing it out. So 5s apparently struggle some with verbal skills as far as communicating even simple messages. For me, it's no problem. I'm an 8 with a 7 wing. I can do this all day. I do it for fun. And then I put it on YouTube and I make some ad revenue off of it and have fun sharing the information. But 5s, it's not that way. 5s, by default, are more of that introvert. And I can see how that works. But just imagine, such potential. If only we can hear from them, that will help us all. Are you a 5? Would you like to tell me about yourself so I can learn from you? Your comments belong right here, along with the link where you can buy this book on Amazon.